Hey, what is good guys, Chris here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about my favorite lens, the 27mm f2.8 that Fujifilm is gonna retire soon. Okay guys, we're talking about the 27mm f2.8. This is the first iteration, and Fujifilm is coming up with the 27mm f2.8 Mark II in just one day. If you're watching this video on the 26th, on the 27th, they're gonna announce in New York the next iteration of this lens, the Mark II, that supposedly is weather sealing, and as well as it's gonna have an aperture ring. These are two of the gripes that all of us were talking about, and why that happened is because this lens is used by many for street photography and for an all-around lens or whatever we're shooting. Now the lens is very small and very portable. As you can tell, it's a pancake lens, and you can have it with you in your pocket, on your camera, anytime. And you can use it for pretty much everything. It's a 41mm, 42mm in full frame, which gives you the right amount of length in terms of focal length, pretty much the same thing that we're seeing with our eyes, and that's great for shooting portraits or street photography, or for shooting landscapes or things that everyone is using these days. I think also that travel photographers will definitely benefit from this lens. Being that small, you only need a small body like the XT3 or the new XT4 or the XT20, XT30, as well as many other bodies, the XS10 that Fujifilm released these years. They're amazing, and all of them have the same image quality because those sensors are built to balance with all the lenses that Fujifilm has in their lineup. So the new iteration, it's the Mark II, and all we know about it, like I said, is the fact that it's gonna have an aperture ring, and it's gonna be weather sealed. Both of them are very important. The aperture ring is important, especially for those of us who are shooting or shooting the past, the X100 series, which has an aperture ring. And it feels natural to change the aperture when you're shooting Fuji. Not necessarily on other cameras, but on Fuji feels very natural. Now, the weather sealing is also important, and it's important because when we're planning our sessions to go outside and shoot street photography, or when you're traveling and you're in Paris or London, when you're in Sydney in Australia or in Costa Rica or whatever, and you only have 2 days, let's say it's just a passing, and you need to, or you want to document that city as much as you can. Well, weather sealing is important because it might rain or might snow. You might be somewhere in the desert in Africa, and you need to keep it away from the elements, from the dust, and so on and so forth. Now, this is my favorite lens of all lenses that I'm using, and you probably know if you're a subscriber to the channel. If you didn't, please go ahead and subscribe. This is what we're talking around here: photography and tech combined, gadgets and things that help us become better in photography, videography, content creation, and so on and so forth. So this one is my favorite lens. It's because it's small, it's because it's portable, it's because of the image quality, and also it's because of the fact that I didn't see any loss in performance when it comes to image quality and colors from this lens to any other ones that I'm using. The 60, the 56, the 50 to 140, the 16 to 55, 18 to 55, and so on and so forth. All of these lenses are providing pretty much the same thing, and this one is no slouch. Now, what we're expecting from the Mark II, like I said, the two features that we already know, but this is the only thing that we know. So today I'm gonna show you a graphic that I did and try to explain to you what to expect, because there are not gonna be many changes between this one and the new one that it comes up tomorrow. Now, as you can see here, Fujifilm Rumors website talked about it a couple of days ago, and they already mentioned the aperture ring and the weather sealing. Both of them are the features that everyone was expecting, and apparently they're going to be in the Mark II of the 27mm. Here is the graphic that I was telling you about. This is about the 27mm f2.8. And as you can tell, this lens it has a spherical element in the middle, and it has 7 elements in 5 groups, including that spherical element. Also, it has a 55.5 field of view, an f2.8 to f16 aperture. It also has a rounded diaphragm with 7 blades and 16 stops of EV. The lens, it's not super heavy, around 78 grams, and it takes a 39mm filter. So that is pretty much what we know about it. Also, the lens magnification, it's not amazing, it's just 0.1 magnification, and we'll also be able to shoot not closer than 0.6 meter than the subject. These are not amazing specs, but if you're thinking that this lens, it's super small and they managed to pack 7 elements in 5 groups in this beautiful lens, well, I think that's amazing. And because we don't know much about the Mark II, I think this will be the same specs. Now, from the leaked blueprint, you can tell here that are pretty much the same. There is no change in the elements, no change in placement. The spherical element, it's in the middle as well as in the new one. This is the leaked image, this one, the other one, it's the normal one, and it's pretty much the same. I'm not sure if the leaked image was actually a copy of that one, but apparently it's gonna look the same. Now, what we all expecting to have in this lens that others don't is a new autofocus motor. I can't complain about the autofocus on this one because I encountered way slower autofocus lenses in my days, but this one is a bit slower than other lenses, so that will be a great improvement, especially for street photographers or action shooters, people who are trying to move fast in the scene and capture the moment. And I'm not saying that I had many problems with this one. I did at some point missed a few shots, but you know, if you can have it, why not have it? And Fujifilm apparently improved the autofocus motor from the leaks and from other websites that are talking about this lens. Apparently, we're gonna have an improved autofocus motor, which will be amazing. Guys, this is pretty much it. My take on my favorite lens that actually will be new and fresh with a new iteration from Fujifilm tomorrow at the New York conference. Hopefully it's gonna end up in my setup and it's gonna be exactly what we expected. I hope you guys took something out of it, and if you love this lens as much as I do, hopefully you are very impressed and happy of the new one that comes up. Don't forget to subscribe again to the channel, give these videos a thumbs up. It's super important for you know, this YouTube algorithm and for more people watching these videos, and I will definitely see you in a bit.